Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and the headline on your screen right now says it all. Bam, do I feel vindicated. Binance wants to add Ripple's XRapid as a partner in future, CZ reveals. Incredible news, perhaps the best thing I've had the pleasure of reporting on this channel since I started almost 2 months ago. Alright, before we get going, if you would hit thumbs up, give me a like, and if you would hit subscribe, if you don't completely hate everything that's coming out of my mouth, would definitely appreciate it. Let's get going into this though, because I predicted this in at least one video in the past, and it just comes down to grasping the big picture. Why would an exchange want to add Ripple's technology XRapid, which uses XRP? Because they make money on it. Understand the way that these corridors work is they're a corridor I've cited in the past. U.S. to Mexico. You have fiat at a bank. It is used to purchase XRP on Bittrex, for example, US XRapid-enabled exchange platform. Then that is moved to the Mexican exchange Bitso, which is also implemented XRapid, and then that's sold into the Mexican peso. Awesome, right? The exchanges want that, and of course I'm sure that there's got to be some arrangement where Ripple's being paid for the actual technology and the maintenance associated with that technology, and that's fine, but there has to be a model for profit for the exchanges Bitso and Bittrex, or else why the heck would they do this? And so knowing that, it's just multiply that out. As the ecosystem grows, why would every exchange on the planet not want to one day have XRapid? And I cited that Binance would be one of them. And here you go. So, I'm sorry. Hope it doesn't sound too braggadocious. It's more like, I feel like I got the big picture. And to see something like that, which totally vindicates what I assumed would happen, it just feels good. And it's good for the whole XRP ecosystem. So all of you XRP, my fellow XRP enthusiasts, this is a good day. It's just clarification that where we think this is going, it's going. And let me read this little quote, though, just so you know exactly where we're at on this. This is a quote from CZ, the CEO of Binance. We're focused on launching more features right now, so we are working with a number of other partners. With XRapid, there's nothing going on right now, but in the future, we'll definitely want to add them as a partner. Okay, so guys, if you're concerned about that being negative with him saying there's nothing going on with XRapid, don't let that be a turnoff to you. All we're talking about here is a very young ecosystem that's in the beginning stages of flourishing. That's all we're talking about here, and he sees that. Of course, he gets it. CZ gets this. He understands that banks are going to want to utilize XRapid technology for essentially real-time settlement. It just makes sense. It just makes absolute sense. And so what we're waiting for, and it's going to take time to develop, I don't know what the timeline is. We're just going to have to live out our lives and see what happens as far as the timeline's concerned. But there's going to be this network effect, and we're already seeing it. You can see that the network effect, as far as it pertains to Ripple, it's growing. As they add customers, the next potential customer thought, maybe XRapid could be useful. The more entities, remittance companies, banks that are a part of the network utilizing, well, XCurrent and then ultimately XRapid, the more valuable it is for future participants. And so you get this snowball effect where more and more entities join. And so the network effect's primarily going to come from those types of companies that are facilitating cross-border payments. Exchanges like Bittrex and like Binance here in the future is going to be using XRapid. Very, very important. I don't know that they're going to do as much to develop the network effect other than it adds legitimacy to what Ripple is doing. So in that effect, yeah, it could help push it along. But I think what banks are primarily looking for is other banks and remittance companies participating, because they're moving their money from one bank to another. So I see Binance's role as what it quite literally is on paper. It's just a pool of liquidity. And I love that CZ is forward-thinking enough and not hating on Ripple or XRP to announce that, yeah, they're going to actually do this one day. How cool is that? This is something worth being really excited about. So I don't know when it's going to happen. It doesn't matter, but it will. Every exchange on the planet, why would there be an exchange out there that, if there's, say XRapid really is globally adopted, this network effect I'm talking about really takes hold, and everybody's using Ripple's technology, or at least a huge percentage of the market is using Ripple's XRapid technology for near real-time settlement. Can you imagine the volume necessary when you're talking about solving what is on an annual basis, a multi-trillion-dollar problem? And, if you're an exchange, you make money from buys and sells, you're going to want a piece of this. So it's coming. It's definitely coming. So let's just wait. Let's watch. Let's see. All right. Another piece of cool news here, and I had kind of reported on this. There was another, it was a Chinese university, and I think they were part of this as well, if memory serves. But this is a headline from today from CoinDesk. Ripple teams with 10 new universities for blockchain research initiative. And where's the pertinent part? Okay, now joining the initiative are Carnegie Mellon, Cornell, Duke, Georgetown, Morgan State, Kansas, Michigan, and Northeastern universities in the U.S., and the National University of Singapore, and the University of Sao Paulo internationally. I've heard of a couple of those names, right? Carnegie Mellon, Cornell, Duke, Georgetown, you heard of these? And, to the people that think that blockchain and cryptocurrencies are a scam, what do you have to say now? Okay, when you're talking about, do you think that perhaps if it's a scam that, all these universities, the Ivy League, some of them, universities have, they've been duped, they've fallen into a pyramid scheme, or is there actually something to cryptocurrencies? And, I can tell you, look, in a simple way, I can tell you why cryptocurrencies as an asset class are here to stay. And it's not for the initial reason that Bitcoin was originally developed. Now, of course, that is to be used, as Satoshi Nakamoto intended, as a peer-to-peer cryptocurrency. And maybe that can take hold. I could definitely see that happening, even if it takes decades. And it doesn't necessarily mean it would be with Bitcoin. Heck, it could be with XRP if somebody pushes for that. It could be with any number of cryptocurrencies. And people say, well, are people really going to have this highly volatile asset? Is it really going to take hold? Are people going to actually use it for daily purchases? Technically, to be proven. I think it could happen, and especially in third world countries. That's a whole other fun discussion we should have sometime. But the reason that I know this is here to stay is because with cryptocurrencies, XRP in particular, the use case Ripple's going for, that particular asset, XRP, the technology behind it, is absolutely necessary to solve the real-world problem that is that's currently banks are experiencing when it comes to cross-border payments. Humans have not devised a way to solve that problem without cryptocurrencies, liquid cryptocurrencies, digital assets. And so that's a real-world use case. That's a real-world use case. And, if something has a use, do you really think that the smart people of the world are just going to throw it out? They're going to throw it away and say no. Well, of course not. That's a silly concept. And so none of this, just to be clear, none of this is financial advice. I'm just saying I firmly believe there is a 0% chance that the cryptocurrency asset class is going away. And I think I'm right about XRP. I think it's going to be a cryptocurrency that has staying power for decades and decades and decades. And we'll see. We'll see if I'm wrong. I doubt it. But even if I were, on the off chance I'm wrong on that, and I really don't think it, cryptocurrencies are here because they solve problems. There are certain use cases that you cannot solve them without a digital asset that does not have a counterparty. There's no counterparty risk. It's a trustless system. That's exactly what is needed. All right, next. This is another piece. This is from Cointelegraph. Investing app investor launches cryptocurrency index. And the reason this caught my attention, I'm not going to spend too much time on it, it just made me think about how we're in the early days of the development of this particular asset class. So I'll read two little parts from this roughly. Investing App Investor has launched a cryptocurrency index for their platform, allowing users to follow cryptocurrency markets according to a press release on February 6th. Okay. Investor's Crypto Index will allow users to track price fluctuations on the crypto market and make price comparisons of specific cryptocurrency pairs. The index will also include a range of digital asset categories that include asset, payment, and utility tokens. And I went on their website, and man, it was like cryptic, like to figure out exactly what they do. They have this thing where it's like you can like fantasy track all sorts of like fake indices to see, if you had the real money and put it in, what it would do. They have something where it looks like you can throw some actually money in and get somebody to hire somebody else if it's like some sort of brokerage account. And here's a quote from, who was this from? It was somebody from the company. Maybe it was the CEO. Traditional indices measure impact on the asset class, not an investor's portfolio. This is not a relevant consideration for smaller investors who want to know what the impact will be on their portfolios. Yeah. Are you sure about that? Maybe we should be aware of what the asset class as a whole is doing. Now, I will grant you, in early days right here, where there's a lot of coins that, frankly, I think they're going to go the way of the dodo. They're going to go bye-bye, rather. Maybe, I think nothing makes sense. Almost nothing makes sense in the asset class. Because if you look at, what I was going to say is, if you look at, for instance, the S&P 500, if you want to be a very responsible long-term investor, you'll buy mutual funds, index funds, and you will buy and you will hold as you continue to invest for decades, and you will not panic buy or get greedy and buy more than you should, and you'd also not panic sell. This is just common sense. This is what you do, and you get your returns. Varies year to year, but I think what's it averaged out to over the last however many decades, like 11% or whatever it's been. And investing in common stocks like that, the S&P 500 and the mutual funds associated with that just means that you have confidence, if you're in the United States, that the economy is not going to go down and then never return. If you're buying stocks, that's like an index like that is just a basket of stocks. That's what you believe, and I do believe that. So he's saying here, traditional indices measure impact on the asset class, not an investor's portfolio. Gosh, okay, what's wrong with that? Well, if you want to responsibly invest, just generally, at least in traditional markets, you want to have a lot of assets. You want a lot of different stocks in there, because some will do well and some won't. And okay, fine with crypto, it's so early. Who knows how many are going to be winners? And okay, I guess if you look at it in that sense, maybe it's sort of okay. But wow. Man, to take an approach like that, I feel like big picture, at least long term, if you were to take, especially once the asset class is really fleshed out and developed, if you were to take an approach like that, I would call you reckless. Okay, it's early on enough that I'll be like, okay, nobody freaking knows who, because with the S&P 500, these are long-standing American companies that have been around forever. Okay, so it is different in that sense, but let's watch what companies like this do long term, because if their messaging doesn't change at some point, which there is when there is decades, whether it's 1 decade, 2 decades down the road, as we see things develop, if the mindset doesn't change, that's a red flag. Something is terribly wrong. Nonetheless, I still wanted to point this out because I like seeing more companies jumping in and do this, because you do have businesses and traditional asset classes that provide mutual funds and custody solutions for that pretty easy. I mean, it's traditional markets. This is, hopefully, you'll see more and more companies jumping in like this. I'm not saying this company is good or bad, but it's an evolution, and we're going to see more of this. And in that sense, it's a positive. That's all I'm saying on that. So that's my 2 cents there. Next one, oh my God, you guys should watch this. I watched this video. My God, here's the headline. This is from Global Crypto Press. Very interesting. Inside a small American town where the government can't use their computers, ransomware attackers demand Bitcoin payment to fix. And it's just, the whole video technically is 20 minutes, but when you click on the link, it times it so that it starts at the pertinent part. It's the last 5 minutes of the entire video. So that's what I watched. And this poor town, Del Rio, Texas, never heard of them, real small town, and they got hacked. Have you guys heard of ransomware? A lot of times it's individuals that are targeted, so your computer can get hacked and you're locked out of it, and then hackers demand X amount of dollars, or else they're going to delete your information forever. That's essentially what happened here. And so, in the end, and this is something, and they're demanding Bitcoin, which is weird because it's actually not anonymous. It's pseudo-anonymous, but it's not actually anonymous. You can track what happens on the ledger. And so, maybe these are smart, stupid people, like smart in the sense that they know how to code and hack and all that stuff, but stupid in the real world sense because they're using Bitcoin, which is not anonymous. Okay. But nonetheless, they got the insurance company involved with this for the town of Del Rio, and they ended up paying this. And just to get the documents back, because there are documents going back decades and decades, and they just had no access to it. They had this poor lady, they had a lady typing something up, and she would normally use a computer, and she's sitting there, and she's typing documents up on a typewriter. Kid you not. And this is 2019, and this is actually what happened. And so it's terrible. But, wow, man, somebody needs to hire some new IT guys in the town of Del Rio. They should be hiring right now if they're not. That sounds awful, but fascinating nonetheless, so I thought I'd just share that with you. The story came out 2 days ago, or the video rather was posted 2 days ago. The story came out on Global Crypto Press today, so it's pretty new. All right. Last piece here. I covered this the last 2 days, and I'm not going to spend much time on this because we don't need to. If you guys want to learn about this, the headline: Indian hospital releases details about Quadriga CX CEO's death. This is the CEO who died, and he's the CEO of Quadriga, the cryptocurrency exchange, and he died, and he was the only one with access to the cold vault, which was storing the cryptocurrency assets of their customers. So it's just like poof if you can't get the keys, right? And it was in US dollars, it was valued at, I believe, 137 million. So it's supposed to be a big deal, and I covered the last 2 days, so again, not going to rehash it beyond that, but there are a couple developments as far as those who pronounced this guy dead, because there are actually people out there that are insisting that the CEO faked his death. And apparently, and I didn't know this, but apparently if you want to fake your death, a really good place to do it is India. That's what I've been hearing anyway. This is not firsthand knowledge, but this is what I've been reading all over online, and so it's suspicious that he mapped out his last will and testament, died 12 days later, but right before he died, he decided to go to India, of course, and then he died of Crohn's disease, or some complications with Crohn's anyway, which is extremely rare, because apparently only 3% of people are actually die as a result of that, so it's extremely rare from what I've read anyway. But anyway, where's the pertinent part here? I just had it. It says, so Cotton that's the CEO, as the last name's Cotton, was brought to the hospital in a critical condition with pre-existing Crohn's disease and was on monoclonal antibody therapy every 8th week. The statement from Fortis Escorts reads, at the time of admission, Cotton was diagnosed to be suffering from septic shock and other serious issues relating to his exacerbated condition. Let's see. Yeah, down here. So despite the best efforts of our clinicians, the patient could not be revived and was declared dead approximately at 7:26 p.m. All standard medical procedures and guidelines were followed to treat the patient. The information on his death was communicated to the relevant authorities. So there you go. That's the latest update today. It seems like, I don't know how long this is going to keep going, but this news, actually, it's so popular, it must be on CoinDesk, that when you're on their website, the centerpiece, the main article that's the most important that they've got on their website for the moment, it's in this huge box at the top, okay? And they've been doing, because apparently this story's just so hot, they've been letting stories on this topic from 1-2 days ago trump new stories that they're writing today. So I guess people are very fascinated. I mean, I do think it's fascinating. I'd love for people to get to the bottom of this so we could finally find out what the heck actually happened. And it's curious. I mean, it's some of this sounds suspect, but who knows? Like I said in previous videos, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't know, but it sounds weird. Doesn't pass the smell test. So, all right, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. I very much appreciate it. Again, if you haven't hit thumbs up, and if you didn't hit subscribe, man, you guys have had some time to marinate on this. If you've been watching me for the last, how long have I been recording this? How long is this video? I don't even know. But if you've watched me more than once, please consider hitting subscribe. I really do appreciate it. It's fun growing this channel. It's fun chatting with you guys in the comments below. So if you guys have any thoughts, input, whatever, feel free to type below. I always respond to everybody. Hopefully I haven't missed any comments. I try and make a real concerted effort to respond to everybody, because I think it's fun. I'm doing this as a hobby. I love it. But anyway, I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Take care.